Hey guys, it is Tuesday, October 8th, 2024, and I'm back with some free VST plugins to help you with your musical adventures and endeavors. We are continuing the month of October themed with free saturation and creative effects. Saturation effects and creative effects. So let's jump right into it, guys. The free plugins for today are as follows. So first up, we have Consolidated. Now this one takes a little bit of explaining. So this is from the developer Chris at Air Windows. He's the sole developer as far as I know. He does most of his plugins by himself. He puts out a lot of plugins very frequently, and then he does a lot of iterations on his plugins. So like he has one called To Tape, and I think it's up to like its 8th version, but he'll have like, close to 60 plugins that's like that, where they keep going to version 1, version 2, version 3, and it kind of gets a little bit overwhelming to keep up sometimes, because you have to keep downloading the new version of that one plugin, and he's just constantly pumping them out. He's excited. So I know he did some work along with the team over at Surge that does the Surge XT synth, and they have integrated a lot of his plugins into Surge itself. So they came up with a great idea to consolidate all his plugins into this one plugin interface called Consolidated. And whenever he updates his plugins, they update it, and then you have to basically get the latest version of Consolidated, and it'll have all the updated versions of his plugins. So all his plugins are in here. You have this menu right here, the hamburger menu. Once you click on that, you will get a drop down with his full list categorized plugins here. And you can filter the list, which is kind of cool. So you can filter it to see recommended, and it'll kind of trim down the menus. You can filter it to latest, and it'll trim down, or you could just have the filter set to show all plugins, and all of these submenus get pretty packed. So it's kind of cool. It actually has allowed me, and it kind of encouraged me to utilize these plugins a lot more, because I can just pull up Consolidated and then go through the list of reverbs if I'm looking for a reverb, and hopefully I find something I'm looking for, or if I'm looking for a tape saturation plugin. So that brings us to the theme where he has saturation, they have tape plugins, he has console plugins, which all are, they're gonna most likely give you some kind of saturation vibe, saturation effect. So there's a ton of saturation effects here in the section that says saturation, but also in the section that says tape, you're gonna get some of those effects also. And under console, a lot of these will have a bit of saturation in it and character. So this is why this one is on the list. So another cool thing about this interface is you have the settings button here, and they have in and output gain controls, which is very cool for you to be able to gain stage and gain match. They have this power button here to turn the entire plugin on and off, basically acting as a bypass switch. For whatever plugin you choose, you have this heart button here to, I'm assuming, favorite the plugin. And also we have these up and down arrows to cycle through the list. So pretty well thought out interface. With Air Windows plugins, they try to keep the plugin very functional and light by not going all crazy with the interface. So the interface is usually very basic, based on your DAW. So it's not going to look like this in your DAW. It's going to look at whatever the base default interface is for your DAW. It will look like that when you open it in your DAW. So in FL, it'll look different. In Ableton, it'll look different. In Cubase, it'll look different. But it's pretty much, you'll have just basic controls, whether it be knobs or sliders, the names of the different parameters, and the actual numbers, intervals. So that's it for Consolidated. It's a lot of plugins you get in here. I think at one point he was probably up to over 200 plugins. I don't know if they're all in here, but a lot of them are in here. But the cool thing is they're organized in categories. So definitely check out Consolidated from Air Windows. Next up, we have the Kiss of Shame. Now this one is another interesting and weird one. It's still being developed and fleshed out. It was a plugin that was made from 2014. It did not have an interface, and it was being used like privately by the initial developer, Eros Marcello, and then Mathij Hollemans was the one that basically finished it up to bring it to the public recently and gave it an interface, and it's still being updated and fleshed out. So some of these knobs and settings don't work yet, according to the information here. I mean, that could have changed by the time I'm doing this video, but this one is definitely a tape emulation plugin, and they have two different type of tape flavors for you to choose from, and a lot of parameters here for you to dial in some settings to get the characteristics and the behavior of tape. So read through the details and play with the interface and see if you get the desired effect you're looking for. But this one is going to continue to update, but it's pretty good to use as is already. Next up, we have with the creative effects, we have Hysteresis from Glitch Machines, and we also have Fracture from Glitch Machines. These are somewhat similar. They've been around for a while, but they've been updating them. The interface is updated. It is now resizable. So this one is a delay. It's like a feedback-based delay effect, where it takes the delay and the feedback and it does very interesting things with them based on the settings that you dial in with the mod section and the filter. You can sync the tempo to your DAW. It's going to give you a lot of weird, crazy effects. It's meant more for sound design. You can get some stuff out of it musically. Just gotta be careful, understand what you're doing. There are a lot of presets here. So this one has 60 factory presets, so you can start from there. There is a dry wet knob and a level knob, which is good. So you can blend it in and just add some weird stuff. You can use it to actually create a lot of weird glitch artifacts that you can actually just print that and then grab bits and pieces of that and sample it and utilize it as glitch effects, percussions, things of that nature. I've seen people do some very creative things with it, and I've used it to use it in a very creative way within my music production. So same thing with Fracture. Fracture is more of a buffer delay type effect. So if you understand those type of effects, you know what they're going for. This one, if I'm not mistaken, has about 100 presets. So once again, you can go to the presets, see what it has to offer, and then tweak from that point on. So definitely check out Hysteresis and Fracture from Glitch Machines, the developer of Glitch Machines. For free instruments today, synth and instruments, we have Ample Percussion Cloud Drum. This one has that metallic drum sound. It has a very regional, very ethnic vibe to it. The tone and timbre kind of reminds me a little bit of a steel drum, but not a steel drum. So it has that kind of timbre to it. But because of the type of drum it is, you're gonna get tones and notes. So you can use this for like lead melodies and things of that nature, and also to layer your melody and your progression. You can hold chords with it too if you want to. And because of the settings with the ADSR and all the settings they have in there, you can actually play with it and get totally different dynamics and get it to sound like a pad, get it to sound very sharp, like very sharp percussions. Or you can have it where it has a hard transient and long tail, a lot of ringing, but you can get different type of dynamics out of it. So there are presets, and the presets will give you those examples. But it is a noted instrument. It has notes, and you can play melodies with it, play your chords, scales, things of that nature. Cloud Drum. Last up, we have Satala from Decomposer, and this one, the link is for the free version of Satala. So version 2 is not free, but the version before that is free. So that's what the link is. So this is a straightforward drum machine, kind of like a MPC style drum machine where you have the pads here, 4x4. So we got 16 pads, and you can just drag and drop your samples right to the pads. Very user friendly. You have your mute solo buttons on the pads. Then for each pad, we have shape tuning, pan, compression, tone, volume. Very detailed with how you can edit the pads and assign different pads to the different triggers on your controller, whatever type of controller you have, whether you have a keyboard controller, if you have like a pad style controller. Very compatible. The interface is resizable, and when you load all your samples on it, you can use it as a drum machine, you can use it as a soundboard. There is a standalone version to it, so you can use it as a soundboard, you know, if you're a streamer and you like to trigger sound effects and things of that nature. So it's very user-friendly in that regard. So when you load all your samples on the pads, you can save that as a preset to just quickly load that again later on. So it's very flexible as a one-shot style sample-based instrument. So definitely check out Satala. Guys, the link is in the description for all these. The link will take you to this blog page where you can check out the information that's here. Click on the corresponding links for the plugins that were discussed today. There's also a link in the description for a video series that I did called PC Specs and how it relates to music production. So if you are looking to understand how your computer works along with your DAW, the internal parts of your computer, how it works along with your DAW to help you produce music, mix, master, track, audio, lay down MIDI, sample, all that good stuff seamlessly without any issues, that video will help you understand how all the parts work together and what controls what is correlated to what. If you're having issues with clicks, pops, audio dropouts, the series will help you understand why that's happening and what you need to do to fix that. It'll help you understand the importance of your CPU, the different components in the CPU, how that's important. The cores, multi-threading, what's that? What does that mean? How does that affect you with your DAW and music production, RAM, storage, audio interface. All those things are discussed in different chapters in the series. So it'll help you understand what you need to know to get your new rig or get your first rig and spend your money wisely based on your workload and your workflow. You'll understand what you need, where you need the power to be for your system. Also, there's another link in the description for a growing playlist for these videos that I do every Monday. No, not every Monday. Every week, twice a week. The days are not locked. So if you're looking for more free videos, free VST videos, you can definitely check out that playlist. Check back later on this week as we continue the month themed with free saturation plugins, free creative effect plugins, and of course we always touch on some instrument plugins, whether it be a synth, a drum rompler, or some other type of rompler, or just like an instrument, live instrument emulator. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and as always, you will see me in the next video.